You think she's not interested? Watch this first. Psychology tricks. To love and be loved is to feel the sun from both sides. David Viscott. Many men move through life quietly questioning where they truly stand with women. If a woman isn't openly flirting, chasing, or making her attraction obvious, a man may quickly conclude, asterisk, maybe I'm just not that attractive. Asterisk, but that conclusion is often far from the truth. In reality, some of the most appealing men are the ones who are least aware of their effect on others. Attraction, especially from women, rarely arrives with loud announcements. It shows up in subtle ways, small shifts in body language, quiet attention, a certain kind of energy in the room, patterns of behavior that most men were simply never taught to recognize. And because those signals are quiet, many men overlook them completely. So today, I want to gently shift the way you see yourself. If you've ever walked into a room and felt like no one noticed you, if you've ever replayed a conversation afterward wondering, asterisk, was she interested, or did I just imagine it? Asterisk, if you've ever told yourself, asterisk, maybe I'm just not that kind of guy. Asterisk, pause for a moment and take a breath. That uncertainty is far more common than you think. In fact, the men who question themselves the most are often the very men women feel drawn to, not because they are trying to impress, not because they are performing or showing off, but because they carry a certain presence, calm, grounded, and real. That quiet confidence can be far more magnetic than loud displays of charm. Part of the confusion comes from a simple truth many men were never taught. Men and women often experience attraction very differently. For many men, attraction feels immediate and direct. A man sees someone beautiful and thinks, asterisk, I want to go talk to her. Asterisk, it's straightforward and action-driven. For women, attraction often begins in a quieter way. Instead of rushing forward, they become aware first. They notice how a man carries himself. They observe his energy. They wonder if he notices them. There is curiosity before action, observation before movement. Women watch. They position themselves nearby. They give small signals, but rarely do they announce their interest out loud. This is where many men misread the situation. They wait for clear compliments, obvious pursuit, or unmistakable declarations of attraction. But the truth is simple. Women rarely declare interest the way men expect. They signal. And once you begin to recognize those signals, something powerful happens. You stop chasing reassurance. You stop second-guessing every interaction. Instead, you begin to see what was already there all along. In a moment, we're going to explore 8 subtle but powerful signs that you may be far more attractive than you realize, even if you've doubted it for years. As you listen, reflect honestly, not from ego, not from insecurity, just from quiet awareness. And if one of these signs suddenly makes you think, wait, that actually happens to me, feel free to share it in the comments. Not for approval, but because recognizing something true about yourself is often the first step to seeing your own value more clearly. All right, let's begin. 1. Lingering eye contact. Lingering eye contact is one of the most powerful signals of attraction, yet it is also one of the most misunderstood moments in everyday human interaction, especially for men who assume that interest must be loud, obvious, or unmistakably direct. But attraction rarely works that way, and this is where understanding a few simple psychology tricks and insights from female psychology can completely change how you interpret what is happening right in front of you. Imagine the scene for a moment. You're in a completely ordinary place, a coffee shop, a grocery store, a gym, maybe a small social gathering, nothing dramatic, nothing romantic, just everyday life unfolding. You look up briefly, and your eyes meet hers. For a split second, there is connection. Now here is the detail most men miss. Instead of immediately looking away the way strangers normally do, she holds her gaze for just a moment longer than social convention requires. Not long enough to feel awkward. Not long enough to feel confrontational. Just one extra second. A tiny pause. Then she looks away. Most men misread that moment completely. They assume it means nothing. They assume it was random. Some even convinced themselves it was accidental or that she was simply looking past them. But according to decades of research in nonverbal communication and female psychology, that extra second is not meaningless at all. It is one of the most universal indicators of interest that exists in human behavior. Eye contact is deeply tied to emotional activation in the brain. When two people maintain eye contact slightly longer than normal, the nervous system becomes more alert. Awareness increases. Emotional curiosity appears. This is one of those subtle psychology tricks built into human nature itself. We simply do not maintain extended eye contact with people who do not interest us. Our minds conserve energy. Our attention naturally moves away from things that do not capture us. That is how attention works. That is how attraction quietly begins. But here is the nuance that reveals even more. Often, after that first moment passes, she will look back again. That second glance is extremely important. It is not random. It is confirmation. Think about your own behavior. When you see something that does not interest you, a passing car, a stranger walking by, a random object on a shelf, you barely register it. One quick glance and your mind moves on. But when something catches your curiosity, you look twice. You verify what you felt. Your brain checks again. Human beings do this automatically. Women do the same. The first look is curiosity. The second look is courage. She is checking something internally. She is asking herself a quiet question. Did he notice? And at the same time, she is sending a silent signal. This is one of the oldest patterns of female psychology in the social world. It is subtle. It is indirect. It is safe. And unless a man understands these psychology tricks, he will completely miss it. Many men actually break eye contact first because uncertainty makes them uncomfortable. They feel pressure. They feel self-doubt. They look away too quickly. Don't do that. Don't react with nervous avoidance. Be calm instead. Be steady. Confidence in that moment does not mean staring aggressively. It does not mean turning the interaction into a silent contest. That is not the goal. The goal is simple awareness. Hold the gaze calmly for a moment. Relax your face. Offer a small, natural smile. That is all. That quiet steadiness communicates more confidence than any rehearsed line ever could. And here is something important to understand, especially if you have ever questioned your own appeal. Many men believe attraction must be obvious to be real. They think interest means obvious flirting, loud compliments, or immediate conversation. But attraction often begins much more quietly. It begins with attention. It begins with curiosity. It begins with moments like this. A glance, a pause, a second look. These are not accidents. They are early signals in the complex dance of how to fall in love. Human connection almost always starts with awareness before it becomes conversation. That is why understanding small signals like lingering eye contact can completely change your perspective. Instead of assuming disinterest, you start noticing patterns. Instead of doubting yourself, you begin observing calmly. This is where wisdom about psychology tricks, female psychology, and even the deeper patterns of how to fall in love becomes powerful. You stop chasing approval. You stop trying too hard. You simply become aware of what is already happening around you. So if you have experienced this before, if a woman looked at you, looked away, then glanced back again, do not dismiss it. Do not tell yourself it meant nothing. That pattern is not random. That pattern is curiosity testing possibility. It is a quiet invitation for awareness. And when you learn to recognize these subtle signals rooted in female psychology, when you understand these small but powerful psychology tricks, and when you see how these moments quietly open the door to how to fall in love, something important shifts inside you. You realize something simple but powerful. You are never invisible at all. 2. Proximity. Now, let's talk about proximity. This is one of the quiet signals many men completely overlook, especially men who have spent years focusing on work, responsibility, and building a life. Yet when you understand it, the pattern becomes obvious. Attractive men create a kind of gravitational pull, not because they are trying too hard, not because they are performing, but because their presence carries calm certainty. That is the quiet mark of a high-value man. When a man stands comfortably in his own skin, When his masculine energy is steady and relaxed, people feel it. And women, in particular, respond to that feeling in subtle ways. You may notice women standing near you, sitting close to you, or casually joining a group you happen to be part of. Pay attention to this. This is not coincidence. It is positioning. Women rarely chase directly. They do not usually walk across a room and announce attraction in bold words. That is not how attraction typically unfolds. Instead, they create opportunities. They move closer. They place themselves within your orbit. They allow interaction to become possible. Do not ignore this signal. Notice it. From a psychological standpoint, proximity increases bonding. There is a well-known principle called the mere exposure effect. Researchers have shown repeatedly that the more often we see someone, the more comfortable and positive we tend to feel toward them. Familiarity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds openness. And openness often becomes attraction. So when a woman repeatedly positions herself near you, she may be increasing the likelihood of interaction. She is not forcing the moment. She is allowing the moment to exist. That is important. She is making herself visible within your awareness. Think about it like this. Attraction often works like a quiet dance. One step from her, one step from you. She moves closer. You notice. You respond with calm conversation. She feels safe. The connection grows naturally. But this only works if you see the step she is taking. Many men miss this entirely. Why? Because self-doubt gets in the way. A man walks into a room and assumes, no one here is paying attention to me. So he stops observing. He stops noticing patterns. And when a woman sits nearby or drifts into the same social circle, he assumes it means nothing. But awareness changes everything. I once worked with a gentleman in his early 60s who felt completely overlooked. He was intelligent, well-spoken, kind, but after a divorce, his confidence had taken a hit. He believed women simply were not interested anymore. One evening during a coaching conversation, he mentioned something casually. At his regular wine bar, the same woman had chosen the stool beside him 3 separate evenings. Same place, same timing. He had assumed it was random. But think about that for a moment. In a bar filled with open seats, someone returning to the same spot beside you again and again is rarely accidental. It was proximity. It was opportunity. I asked him a simple question. What if she keeps choosing that seat because she enjoys your presence? That idea had never crossed his mind. The next time he went to the wine bar, he shifted one thing. Just one thing. He stopped assuming invisibility and started practicing awareness. When she sat beside him again, he turned slightly, smiled, and started a light conversation about the wine selection. Nothing dramatic, just calm curiosity. And something interesting happened. The conversation flowed easily. She laughed. She stayed longer than usual. They began talking each week when their visits overlapped. What had once felt like coincidence suddenly revealed itself as a pattern. Energy pulls. Awareness responds. This is the quiet advantage of a high-value man. He does not chase every interaction with urgency. He observes. He notices. He responds with calm confidence. That presence alone can attract women in ways that are almost invisible to men who are rushing or doubting themselves. So here's the principle you must remember. Do not overanalyze every situation, but do not ignore patterns either. If a woman repeatedly appears near you, notice it. If she joins the same group conversations you are part of, notice it. If she positions herself within easy speaking distance more than once, notice it. That is not pressure. That is possibility. Be calm. Be relaxed. Be observant. This is where masculine energy matters. Not loud energy. Not aggressive energy. Calm energy. Grounded energy. The energy of a man who is comfortable initiating a simple conversation when the moment appears. Say hello. Make a light observation. Ask a friendly question. Do not perform. Just connect. Remember, many women create opportunity rather than direct pursuit. They step closer. They make themselves visible. But they still appreciate when a man recognizes the moment and moves the interaction forward. That is how balanced attraction works. And when you combine awareness with steady presence, something powerful happens. You stop chasing signals that are not there, and you begin recognizing the ones that are quietly waiting for you. That is when things shift. You begin to realize you may have been attracting women all along without realizing it. Your masculine energy was already creating interest. You simply were not seeing the invitation. So here is the lesson. Do not walk through the world assuming invisibility. Look around. Observe human behavior. Notice patterns of proximity. Notice who chooses to stand near you, sit near you, or remain in conversation circles where you are present. That awareness is the beginning of confidence. And confidence is the quiet signature of a high-value man. If this message resonated with you, remember this. Attraction is often quiet, but it is rarely accidental. The man who pays attention begins to see opportunities others completely miss. So take this with you today. Awareness changes everything. And if you believe that, drop this in the comments right now. I notice the opportunities around me. Like the video, subscribe for more timeless wisdom, and remember, the moment you become aware of your value, the world starts responding to it. Speech balloon. 3. People listen when you speak. People listen when you speak. That is not an accident. That is the third sign, and many men overlook it because they expect attraction to look dramatic or obvious. But real influence rarely announces itself loudly. Have you noticed conversations around you soften when you begin talking? Side discussions fade. People turn their bodies slightly toward you. Their eyes stay longer. That is presence. Quiet. Natural. Unforced. Psychologists call part of this phenomenon the halo effect. When someone is perceived as attractive or admirable, the mind automatically assumes other positive traits: confidence, intelligence, leadership. This is not manipulation. It is human psychology. And for men over 50, this becomes even more powerful. Youth tries to compete with volume. Youth rushes, pushes, performs. But maturity carries gravity. As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded us, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. When you embody calm certainty, people feel it before they analyze it. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes practical in modern life. The man who cultivates stillness develops an iron mind, and that steadiness changes how others respond to him. Think about it in today's world: offices, social gatherings, gyms, coffee shops. Most people talk quickly. They rush to fill silence. They chase approval through noise. But the man who speaks slowly, clearly, and deliberately commands the room without demanding it, that is not dominance. That is gravity. Attention gathers around calm confidence the same way people gather around a warm fire on a cold night. This is why your presence can become more influential with age, not less. Experience sharpens your perception. Patience refines your communication. And as Lao Tzu once said, mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. This is exactly the mindset behind Stoicism win, the victory of internal control over external chaos. When you develop an iron mind, you stop trying to impress people. Instead, you focus on clarity. You speak when you have something worth saying. You pause when silence strengthens your message. And surprisingly, that restraint amplifies your magnetism. Try this simple exercise the next time you are in conversation. Slow your speech slightly, just a little. Lower your tone so it carries calm certainty rather than urgency. Pause between ideas. Not awkwardly, intentionally. Let your words land. Observe what happens. People lean in. They listen more carefully. The room adjusts to your rhythm. This is not performance. This is alignment with human psychology and old Stoic wisdom. The Stoics understood something modern life often forgets: calm authority is louder than noise. Seneca wrote, "The greatest power is often simple patience." When you apply that principle in daily conversations, meetings, or even casual interactions, you begin to notice a shift. People stop interrupting as much. They wait for your perspective. They ask for your thoughts. Not because you forced attention, but because your composure signals stability. In a chaotic world, stability is magnetic. And this is where many men rediscover their confidence after 40 or 50. They realize attraction is not about chasing approval or performing youthful energy. It is about grounded presence. It is about emotional steadiness. It is about cultivating an iron mind that remains calm regardless of the environment. That is why the philosophy behind Stoicism resonates so deeply with mature men today. You stop measuring yourself by external reactions. You focus on internal discipline. And paradoxically, that internal discipline increases your influence in the external world. Women notice it. Colleagues respect it. Friends trust it. Because calmness communicates something powerful, this man is secure in himself. That message travels without words. Remember this principle moving forward. Do not rush your speech. Do not compete with noise. Be intentional. Be composed. Let your words carry weight through clarity and calmness. Repeat this idea until it becomes habit. Presence beats performance. Presence beats performance. Presence beats performance. When you embody that truth, you stop trying to control the room, and the room begins responding to you naturally. This is the quiet strength described in old Stoic wisdom. This is the mindset behind Stoicism win. And this is how a man develops the calm authority of an iron mind, a mind that does not chase attention, yet effortlessly attracts it. 4. Mirroring. Mirroring is one of the most powerful yet overlooked signals of attraction, and if you want to understand real connection, you must learn to notice it. Many men assume interest must be loud and obvious, but that assumption blinds them to the quiet signals that reveal genuine chemistry. Mirroring happens when someone unconsciously reflects your behavior. You lean back in your chair, she leans back moments later. You touch your chin while thinking, and a few seconds later, she does the same. Your voice becomes calm and steady, and suddenly her speech slows to match your rhythm. This is not imitation. This is biology. This is one of the most fascinating psychology tricks hidden in everyday interaction. Human beings are wired for connection, and when two people begin to feel comfortable with each other, their nervous systems begin to synchronize. That is how female psychology often expresses attraction, quietly, subtly, almost invisibly to the untrained eye. Neuroscience explains this through what are called mirror neurons. These specialized cells in the brain activate when we observe someone we feel connected to. The result is a natural alignment of posture, gestures, tone, and energy. Breathing patterns begin to match. Body language becomes similar. Even the pace of conversation falls into harmony. This is not strategy. It is instinct. As psychologist Carl Jung once said, meeting someone is like meeting yourself reflected. When you see mirroring happen, you are witnessing rapport forming at the biological level. That is why understanding these psychology tricks is so valuable. It teaches you to see what most men miss. When a woman mirrors your gestures or rhythm, she is not simply being courteous. Her nervous system is signaling comfort, and comfort is the gateway to attraction. In female psychology, safety always comes first. Before excitement, before curiosity, before the early stages of how to fall in love. A woman must feel relaxed in your presence before anything deeper can grow. Many men rush the process. Don't do that. Be calm. Be grounded. Be present. That is how you create the environment where mirroring naturally appears. And here is something even more powerful. Once you recognize this pattern, you can gently strengthen it. After a few moments of conversation, subtly align with one small part of her posture. If she leans slightly to one side, shift your position in a similar direction after a short pause. If her voice softens, slow your speech as well. Do not exaggerate. Do not make it obvious. Subtlety is everything. When done correctly, this simple alignment deepens connection almost instantly. Why? Because the brain interprets similarity as familiarity, and familiarity creates comfort. This is one of the most reliable psychology tricks used by skilled communicators, negotiators, and even therapists. It works because it speaks directly to the unconscious mind. Now understand something important. Attraction is rarely loud. Movies teach men to expect dramatic signals. Real life is different. Real attraction unfolds quietly, layer by layer, moment by moment. A glance held slightly longer. A shared rhythm in conversation. a mirrored gesture that appears without thought. These are the signals that reveal the early stages of how to fall in love. When you start noticing them, your entire perception changes. Suddenly, you realize something powerful. You have been receiving signals all along. You simply were not trained to see them. Many men between 35 and 70 tell me the same story. They believed women were uninterested because no one was openly pursuing them. But female psychology rarely works that way. Interest often shows itself through presence, alignment, and subtle synchronization. A woman may not say a word about attraction, but her body language will quietly reveal it. That is why awareness matters. Do not rush to conclusions. Do not assume disinterest too quickly. Instead, observe. Pay attention to patterns. Notice the rhythm between you. When mirroring begins to appear, you are witnessing the early formation of trust and emotional comfort. And trust is the soil where attraction grows. Understanding these psychology tricks does not mean manipulating anyone. It means recognizing the language of human connection. It means understanding how female psychology communicates safety, curiosity, and openness long before anyone says the words. When you see mirroring, take a moment and let it register. Breathe. Stay relaxed. Continue the conversation naturally. That quiet alignment you are seeing is not random. It is the nervous system saying, I feel good here. And when that happens, something meaningful is beginning. Because long before two people openly admit their feelings, their bodies have already started the conversation. And when you understand how to read those signals, you stop second-guessing yourself. You stop chasing uncertainty. Instead, you recognize the subtle patterns that mark the beginning of real connection and the early steps in how to fall in love. Now keep this awareness with you, because what we are about to explore next moves beyond visible behavior and into an even deeper layer of psychology tricks that reveal attraction before a single word is spoken. 5. Compliments beyond appearance. Many men misunderstand compliments because they focus only on the obvious ones. They hear, "You look great today," and assume that is the highest form of praise. But listen carefully. That kind of compliment is surface level. It happens fast. Human beings make physical assessments within seconds, often without even realizing it. Appearance is noticed immediately, then quickly filed away. But when a woman says something different, when she says, "I really like your energy," or "I feel comfortable around you," that is an entirely different signal. That is not about your shirt, your hair, or your height. That is about your presence. And presence is the real foundation of lasting attraction. Do not overlook that. Do not dismiss it. Be wise enough to recognize what it means. Because when a woman describes your energy, she is describing the emotional experience she has when she is around you. That experience matters far more than any surface detail. It is the quiet language of attraction that many men completely miss. Psychology supports this in a very clear way. Studies consistently show that emotional safety and authenticity are the strongest predictors of long-term interest between people. Not flashy behavior, not clever lines, not constant performance. Emotional safety. That is the environment where attraction grows naturally. When a woman tells you she feels comfortable around you, she is not making a casual remark. She is revealing something deeper. In very real terms, she is saying, "My nervous system relaxes in your presence." Think about that for a moment. Her body feels calm. Her mind feels open. She does not feel pressure to perform or protect herself. That is powerful. And it is one of the most overlooked ways a high-value man naturally attracts women. Because masculine energy, when it is steady and grounded, creates a sense of emotional stability that people feel immediately, even if they cannot explain it with words. I once worked with a widower in his late 50s who believed his best years were behind him. Life had humbled him. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He didn't try to impress anyone in the room. In fact, if you saw him from a distance, you might describe him as completely ordinary. But something interesting kept happening. Women would say things like, "You're easy to talk to," or "I like talking with you," or sometimes simply, "You're very calming to be around." Now here is where many men make the mistake. He dismissed those compliments as politeness. He assumed they were just being nice. He thought it meant nothing. But what he did not understand was that these women were describing the emotional atmosphere he created. He listened carefully. He did not rush to interrupt. He did not scramble to prove himself. He allowed silence to exist without discomfort. His calmness created emotional safety. And that kind of masculine energy is incredibly rare in today's noisy world. There is a powerful distinction here that you must understand. He thought he was average. They experienced him as grounding. That is a completely different perception. Many men believe they must constantly entertain, impress, or perform in order to attract women. They believe attraction comes from intensity or constant excitement. But often the opposite is true. A high-value man does not try to dominate the conversation. He does not chase attention. He creates a stable emotional environment. He is relaxed in his own presence. And that calm confidence quietly attracts women because it makes them feel safe, heard, and understood. Do not underestimate how powerful that is. In a world filled with noise, steadiness feels like gravity. That is why compliments about your vibe, your energy, or your presence should never be brushed aside. When a woman says something like that, she is describing the emotional effect you have on her. That is not a small thing. That is magnetism rooted in maturity. And maturity is one of the most powerful aspects of masculine energy as men move into their 40 seconds, 50 seconds, and beyond. Younger men often rely on excitement. Older men who understand themselves rely on presence. Be that man. Be the man whose calmness speaks louder than his words. Be the man whose attention makes people feel seen instead of evaluated. That is how a high-value man naturally attracts women without forcing anything. Now here is the important step many men overlook. When someone compliments your presence, do not deflect it. Do not laugh it off. Do not say, "Oh, it's nothing." That reaction quietly rejects the positive feedback you are receiving. Instead, accept it with calm confidence. The next time someone says they enjoy your energy or feel comfortable around you, simply respond with, "Thank you." That means a lot. Nothing more is required. That response shows emotional maturity. It shows you respect the moment. It shows you are comfortable receiving appreciation without shrinking away from it. Confidence grows in a very specific way. It grows when you stop rejecting positive feedback about who you are. Many men unknowingly block their own growth by dismissing compliments. But a high-value man understands that feedback is information. If multiple people tell you that your presence feels calm, warm, or steady, that is not coincidence. That is a pattern. And patterns reveal truth. So pay attention to what people are telling you about the way they feel around you. Because attraction often hides inside those small observations. Remember this simple principle. Looks may start a conversation. Presence sustains it. And emotional safety builds the connection that lasts. That is why masculine energy rooted in calm confidence can attract women far more effectively than constant performance ever could. So the next time someone compliments your energy, do not brush it aside. Recognize it for what it truly is, a signal that your presence is being felt. And when your presence is felt, attraction has already begun. 6. People looking at you. People looking at you. This is the sixth sign, and it is subtle, quiet, but unmistakably real. You catch people glancing in your direction. Not once, but repeatedly. A quick look, then another, then a brief moment of eye contact before they turn away. Many men dismiss this, but you must not overlook it. This is human psychology at work. Human beings are wired to scan the environment constantly, searching for signals of social value, confidence, and emotional steadiness. We naturally notice individuals who carry themselves with calm posture, measured movement, and composed energy. It is not always about perfect looks. It is about presence. It is about the quiet authority that walks into a room before a single word is spoken. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your mind is disciplined, when your inner state is stable, your presence changes, and people feel it before they understand it. That is where old Stoic wisdom begins to reveal its power. A man with an iron mind does not chase attention. Attention gravitates toward him. When you walk into a room and conversation shifts slightly, when someone glances toward you and then quickly looks away, when your eyes meet across the room more than once, this is not coincidence. This is recognition. It is awareness. It is curiosity quietly forming. Many men misunderstand this moment because they expect attraction to be loud, theatrical, and obvious. But in the real world, especially in mature social dynamics, attraction is rarely loud. It is quiet observation. It is subtle tracking. It is attention that checks in, pulls back, and then returns again. Someone looks at you, looks away, then checks again to see if you noticed. That pattern reveals something powerful: curiosity mixed with vulnerability. People do not repeatedly observe someone unless something about that person captures their attention. And what captures attention most strongly is emotional composure, calm presence, controlled movement, the steady confidence of a man who is comfortable in his own skin. This is where Stoicism win becomes more than a philosophy. It becomes a practical advantage in modern life. In a world full of noise, speed, and emotional overreaction, the calm man stands out immediately. The man who listens more than he talks. The man who moves slowly instead of rushing. The man who holds eye contact without forcing it. This is the man people notice. Not because he demands attention, but because he carries quiet gravity. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That is instruction, not theory. Decide to be composed. Decide to carry yourself with discipline. Decide to walk into every room with a stable mind. Then live it. Then embody it. And watch how the room begins to notice. In modern life, whether in a coffee shop, a workplace meeting, a gym, or a social gathering, the same principle applies. People are constantly observing each other, often without realizing it. They measure confidence through posture. They read emotional strength through calm facial expression. They sense self-assurance through stillness. The man with an iron mind does not fidget, does not chase validation, does not perform for approval. He simply exists with clarity and purpose. And that alone creates attention. Do not rush to interpret every glance as attraction. That is not the lesson. The lesson is deeper. The lesson is awareness. If people are noticing you repeatedly, it means your presence is registering in the social environment. It means you're standing out. And standing out often begins with the internal discipline taught by old Stoic wisdom. Control your reactions. Slow your movements. Hold your posture. Speak calmly. Listen fully. Let your mind become steady and deliberate. The result is powerful. Your presence becomes memorable without effort. This is why the path of Stoicism win is so effective for modern men. It builds internal strength first. External influence follows naturally. Remember this principle clearly. Attention follows stability. Attention follows composure. Attention follows the man who does not need to prove himself. So the next time you notice someone glancing your way more than once, do not overanalyze it. Do not become self-conscious. Simply remain grounded. Maintain your calm. Hold your frame. Because the real victory is not collecting attention, it is mastering yourself. And when you cultivate that iron mind, guided by old Stoic wisdom and practiced through Stoicism win, something remarkable happens. You stop wondering whether people notice you, because your presence quietly answers the question before you even ask it. If this message opened your eyes even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button, subscribe for more timeless insights on attraction, presence, and masculine confidence, and most importantly, lock this lesson into your mind. Because attraction is often quiet, subtle, and easy to miss if you're not paying attention. So drop this reminder in the comments right now to anchor the mindset. Presence gets noticed, even in silence. 7. How other men respond to you. Now let's step into a sign that many men overlook, yet it reveals more than almost anything else in social dynamics: how other men respond to you. If you believe attraction is only about what a woman says or does, you're missing a powerful layer of human behavior. Watch the room carefully. Watch the men. Because one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in attraction is understanding that women constantly observe social hierarchy, even when no one says a word about it. Human beings have always lived in groups. For thousands of years, survival depended on quickly recognizing who carried influence, who had composure, who others respected. That instinct has never disappeared. It still operates quietly beneath modern conversations, dinner tables, offices, and social gatherings. When a woman enters a room, she doesn't only notice faces. She notices reactions. She sees who people listen to. She notices who speaks calmly while others pause to hear the point. This is where female psychology becomes fascinating. Women often evaluate a man not only by his appearance, but by how the social environment responds to him. That is why observing male behavior around you becomes one of the most revealing psychology tricks you can learn. Pay attention to the signals of respect. They're subtle but powerful. When you speak, men don't cut you off mid-sentence. That is not random politeness. That is recognition. When a man asks, "What do you think about this?" he is acknowledging your perspective carries weight. When someone introduces you to others with genuine enthusiasm, saying your name with respect, that is social validation happening in real time. Do not underestimate these small moments. They shape perception. They create what psychologists call social proof. And social proof plays a powerful role in female psychology. A woman observing this interaction does not need to consciously analyze it. Her mind registers it automatically. She sees who the group respects. She notices who others listen to. She observes who maintains calm composure without trying to force attention. That is why you must never chase approval. Never try to prove your worth loudly. Don't interrupt. Don't compete for noise. Be steady. Speak clearly. That is influence. But there is another side to this dynamic that men must understand. Sometimes the reaction from other men is not respect, it is competition. And competition also sends a signal. When certain men suddenly begin telling exaggerated stories right after you speak, that is not coincidence. When someone tries to outdo your point with a louder example, that is subtle rivalry. When a man throws a playful but slightly dismissive joke in your direction while women are nearby, pay attention. These behaviors are ancient social signals. They often appear when someone senses your presence carries influence. Again, do not react emotionally. That is the mistake many men make. They argue. They defend. They escalate. Don't do that. Calm presence always wins. Remember the words often attributed to Marcus Aurelius. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, remain composed. Let others reveal themselves. Because in the deeper mechanics of female psychology, composure signals confidence more than words ever can. Women notice the man who stays relaxed while others compete. They notice the man who smiles lightly and continues speaking without trying to control the room. That is authority without force. That is the energy that quietly influences attraction. If you truly want to understand how to fall in love and how attraction forms naturally, you must begin seeing the invisible social patterns happening around you. Attraction is rarely created through pressure. It is created through perception. Women observe how you move within the group. They observe whether people gravitate toward you or challenge you. They notice whether you respond with calm or with tension. These are the silent signals shaping emotional chemistry long before anyone speaks about romance or connection. That is why mastering these psychology tricks is not about manipulating anyone. It is about awareness. It is about understanding how human behavior unfolds in real time. When you recognize these dynamics, you stop chasing validation and start building presence. And presence changes everything. The truth is simple. The way other men react to you often becomes the mirror through which women evaluate your value. Respect signals recognition. Competition signals perceived influence. Both reactions reveal something important. Your job is not to fight for position. Your job is to carry yourself with calm certainty. Speak with clarity. Listen with patience. Move through conversations without urgency. That is how influence forms naturally. And when a woman observes this steady composure, when she sees that others respond to you with either respect or quiet rivalry, her mind begins connecting powerful emotional signals. This is where attraction grows beneath the surface. This is where female psychology and social dynamics quietly intersect. And if you truly want to understand how to fall in love and create genuine connection later in life, remember this principle. Don't try to control the room. Become the man who doesn't need to. Because the moment you stop trying to prove your worth, people start recognizing it. 8. Women assume you have options. Now let's explore the eighth, and perhaps the most powerful sign. Women assume you have options. This one changes everything. You might hear things like, "I can't believe you're single." "I'm sure you have women texting you all the time." Or a playful jab like, "You probably say that to everyone." These comments often show up early, sometimes even before a real connection has fully formed, before exclusivity, before anything serious is even discussed. Why does that happen? Because you carry a calm, grounded presence, a kind of quiet certainty, the energy of a high value man who is comfortable with himself. And women notice it immediately. Here's the truth many men overlook: desperation has a very specific psychological signature. You can spot it from a mile away. It shows up in overtexting. It shows up in explaining yourself too much. It shows up when a man constantly seeks reassurance, when he needs validation to feel secure. Don't do that. The moment a man begins chasing approval, the entire dynamic shifts. Attraction fades because tension disappears. Abundance energy looks very different. It's calm. It's patient. It doesn't rush intimacy. It doesn't cling to every message or moment. That is masculine energy. A man with that presence doesn't behave like someone trying to win a prize. He behaves like someone already living a full life. Women are extremely sensitive to these signals. Not logically, not through a checklist. They feel it. They sense whether a man operates from scarcity or abundance. And when a woman senses that you are perfectly fine whether she chooses you or not, something interesting happens. Her curiosity increases. You become intriguing. That is when she starts to see you as a high-value man. Now here's the irony. You may not actually have multiple women pursuing you, but if you carry yourself like a man who could, people assume you do. Perception influences reality. This is a powerful psychological principle. When others believe you are desired, your perceived value rises automatically. Think about it like a busy restaurant. When you walk past two restaurants, one empty, one full of people, which one do you assume has the better food? Exactly. Human beings follow social proof. Attraction works the same way. When women believe other women are interested in you, their interest often grows. Not out of competition, out of curiosity. What do they see in him? What makes him different? This is why a high-value man never tries to convince anyone of his worth. He doesn't advertise it. He lives it. Be calm. Be patient. Be focused on your own path. When your life is full, purpose, hobbies, friendships, growth, you naturally project masculine energy. And that energy quietly helps attract women. You must remember this simple rule. Men chase attention, but men with purpose attract it. Don't rush. Don't cling. Don't underperform. Just build a life that feels meaningful to you. Because when a man carries that quiet confidence, when his presence feels steady and unbothered, something fascinating happens. Women begin to assume he has options. And strangely enough, that belief alone can be the very thing that helps him attract women in the first place. Hi, my friend. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I truly appreciate you being here and sharing this moment of reflection together. Before we finish, let me leave you with one honest piece of advice. Don't measure your worth by how much attention someone gives you. A man who values himself never feels grateful for crumbs. He chooses carefully. He observes. He respects his own time and energy. And that simple shift changes everything. When you stop chasing validation and start recognizing real interest, your entire presence becomes calmer, steadier, and far more attractive. Remember this: attraction grows naturally when a man stands comfortably in who he is. No forcing, no proving, just quiet confidence and clear awareness. If today's message helped you see yourself a little differently, carry that with you. Walk into your next conversation with calm energy. Stand tall in your choices. The right woman will feel that without you saying a word. I'm Mary Smith, host of Mindful Senior Living. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in our next conversation. Bye for now.